This is going to be a quick movement guide for Warlocks in Beyond Light. I'm not going to cover Lament skating in this video because it's just not good. I'm also not going to be covering Well Worldline because it's very likely to be patched and is therefore banned in speedruns. So if that would ever change, I could consider making a guide on it in the future. Before we start, I want to say that Burst Glide is going to be the best glide type for pretty much everything I do in this video. You don't want to be the person who can't sword skate because you're on the wrong glide type. We're going to start off with sword skating, or fake skating, or whatever you want to call it. A sword skate in Beyond Light is done by jumping, swinging your sword, swapping weapon, and then activating Burst Glide. That is the absolute basic. You can add an Icarus Dash after activating Burst Glide for extra speed. Now that you know the basics, I want to talk about better sword skating or improved sword skating. I don't really know what to call it, but for the sake of the video, I'm going to call it better sword skating. A better sword skate is faster than a normal sword skate, but it takes a little bit more space to do it. So you need to get comfortable with both variants in order to switch between the two. A better sword skate is performed like this. You want to start off by doing a normal sword skate, but the trick is that you want to land on the ground and then activate Burst Glide and Icarus Dash as soon as possible after you jump off of the ground. I don't know the exact physics behind this, but for some reason that gives you an extra boost of speed. Now that we talked about sword skating, I want to talk about the different subclasses and their specific movements. The Solar subclass is the most used one, and specifically Top Tree. The main reasons why Top Tree is viable is Heat Rises and Icarus Dash. Icarus Dash is essentially a speedrunner's best friend. It's a very good tool for creating speed and momentum. To properly Icarus Dash, you want to activate your Burst Glide just before Icarus Dashing. If you don't activate Burst Glide before Icarus Dashing, you're essentially just going to perform a regular Icarus Dash and not gain any speed at all. Heat Rises lets you consume your grenade to have infinite glide for 10 seconds. You can use this to climb slanted walls by activating Heat Rises and pushing yourself up against a wall. You can also use Heat Rises to skate really fast with Balance Glide or Strafe Glide. You have to do it without swinging your sword, and it's very situational, but it's still a really good movement tech. You can also use it to cross massive gaps. On Balance Glide and Strafe Glide, while in your super, you can skate really fast by activating and deactivating your glide as soon as you jump off of the ground. If you're using Burst Glide, this doesn't have the same effect unfortunately, but in that case you can utilize Icarus Dashes instead. One last thing that I wanted to mention about Top Tree Dawnblade is that when you have Heat Rises active, it costs less super energy to use Icarus Dash when in a super. The middle tree of the Solar subclass is usually just used for the well, but it can also be used for Healing Nade, which is a really good movement tool. Holding your Healing Nade gives you the ability to float, and it was a lot more popular back in the days. But ever since the Worldline nerf, this movement tech has become a lot less viable, but it's still useful for some scenarios. Bottom tree Dawnblade is usually only used for Phoenix Dive. Phoenix Dive lets you quickly descend while airborne, and is usually used for long drops, like the ending of the Pyramidion Strike. The Void subclass, movement-wise, is generally only used for Blink and Nova Warp. Paired up with Astrocyte Verse, you can cover medium-range distances really fast. The Super Nova Warp has its own Blink that you can pair up with the regular Blink to cover a lot of distance. That's gonna be it for this video. I think I covered everything that I want to cover and that is worthy of covering. So let me know what you thought of the video down in the comments below. And let me know if there's any other guides that you want me to do, and I'll consider doing them in the future. Thank you guys very much for watching.